In this documentary, I want to show what's going on in Ireland during the pandemic. Focusing on the music scene and how it has affected artists. Myself being a rapper, I want to explore the different genres and show you what we're about. I had a chat with local artists and here's what they had to say.
What's the crack? I'm Donegal Mafia. I'm a music producer from Donegal. I've been playing music all my life. Started playing drums when I was around 5, and then I started taking it more serious as I got older. Started playing guitar, and then started playing a bit of piano and got into music producing then.
You started DJing then, huh?
And then I started DJing when I went to college from my father being a DJ and growing up with that. Just hearing techno and all kinds of music all the time, and I gradually just worked towards it. What helps me create like house music would be like listen to other kinds of house music or anything in general, like soul or rock or hip hop or anything like that. The music scene in Ireland is very good at the minute. There's a lot of new talent and up and coming artists, and it's looking very promising for the future, and hopefully 2021's gonna be good for up and coming artists trying to come through.
And you do hip hop beats / techno as well?
I started off doing hip hop because that sort of tied in more with like the like drums and stuff. You know, it's that sort of style. And then I just made a song, a techno song that blew up, and then I thought, well, I better start doing this.
And how long did it take you to make a techno song that blew up?
Well, it took me like 10 minutes, and I just made it for me friends, really, like, no, it was a joke.
Yeah, for the crack?
Aye, for the crack, really, and it just blew up from there. And
how many views did it get?
It has 150,000 and counting at the minute. It's affected it more positively on like the connection side of like connecting with more artists and spending more time doing my networking. And then, but on the music side, like it's been a lot harder to be creative, considering there's no inspiration from like going out to events or like meeting people.
Very hard to be inspired.
Parties and stuff like that. Well, I do find it a lot harder because of that reason of like not getting inspiration from just life in general and going out and all that stuff. But
yeah, we're locked at the house all the time.
Yeah, you feel a lot freer because like you don't have to go to work, or like people don't have to go to college, so like you have a lot more free time to spend on it, like, and take it more seriously. Like in the summer, I'm hoping to do a lot more DJ gigs, stuff like that there, and I'm really thriving for it. Whereas like before lockdown, like I would have been kind of like, but now I really want to jump on it. Like now with all this free time and being away from it for so long. Like,
yeah, take advantage of it.
Yeah, like, go ahead and do it and jump straight in, and you don't need to do lessons or listen to anybody. Like I mean, lessons do help people and stuff and for everybody, but
you don't really need to do the theory like when you're starting off at all.
Being like self-taught myself, it's better just to jump in and go through it and figure it out, and I feel like that's the best way to go about it. The thing that got me really into it was probably like going to like fasting and all that crack, and like just the environment and like everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what's the crack with you, like everybody's just there in the moment, and it's one of the coolest scenes ever, especially in Ireland. Like that techno scene is thriving and booming. Well, it was before COVID, and it was really, really getting there, and then COVID just sort of
killed it.
But I feel like
it'll come back though stronger, definitely.
Yeah, when it comes back, I feel like it's gonna be like the summer of love again. I've been your host,
Donegal Mafia.
Yes, yeah.
What's the crack? I'm Mickey. I'm a rapper from Donegal. When did you start making music? 2011, I think it was. But we just did it as a joke. It was just rap battles for the crack. Nothing serious. And then around 2016, then I started posting rap songs on YouTube. They started getting a bit of views then, so I started taking it a bit more seriously and after. Grew up listening to them, like HCBB and DK and Mr. Mull's voice from like Strabane and stuff like that. And then just normal rap music that I listen to. You take influence from literally everything. I listen to like all different genres, like, so I take influence from every single genre and just make it my own kind of style. It's gotten a bit better. Being an independent artist a few years ago was a bit harder to get somewhere, but I think nowadays it's getting a bit easier with the social media and stuff. Definitely, there's no gigs anymore, so definitely harder to get your name out, kinda. And but it's easier to do in another way, like, because I have so much free time. I can make way more music now, so it's a bit easier that way, but harder at the same time. So I'm not leaving the house anymore, so there's not much inspiration. I only get inspiration from like looking at stuff online now. I think there's going to be a lot more artists, more genres, a lot more gigs. Gigs are going to be queued out everywhere you look. A long time after this, because every artist is just itching to play a gig at this stage. Just go on YouTube and put on a freestyle beat or something like that and just rap away to it. Doesn't have to rhyme. Just chat, get comfortable with your voice, and then you can throw in a few rhymes after. This is the first mixtape I made, and I got my friend Pascal. He makes clothing as well, so he made merch for this as well. So it's kind of cool, like, having a few connections for music. Definitely very handy. What's been your most successful song to date? What's the crack now? I'd say it's probably the most famous one. I have a few other songs doing well too, but it's definitely What's the Crack Now. Everyone knows me around Donegal and Ireland kind of for that. So you've heard that sentence a lot. I don't even chat, sir. Way too many times. I bet. Anyway, thanks for answering my questions. No bother.
I'm Joel Harkin, 26, non-smoker from Donegal, alternative ambient folk singer, producer, and mastering engineer in training. Probably didn't make anything of note until 10 years ago. I think it's great. I think that in terms of like acts and artists, there are so many and everybody's really dead on, I've found anyway. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to the rule, but as far as who I've come across, like, everybody's been really dead on, and it's been lovely. Well, it hasn't affected the music so much as it's affected like the business side of it, I suppose. Like, we put out a record in May. All the dates were locked in before before lockdown. The album was coming out when it was coming out, and there was no change in it after the fact. So we didn't get to tour it. The plan was to kind of tour that kind of summer, like August, September kind of type time, and we were gonna do Ireland again and Britain, but actually like go to like Scotland this time as well, and we were gonna try and get a couple of shows in Berlin, which would have been unbelievable. Would have been unreal, man. Like, I never been to Germany, so I was like really, really excited to kind of go and do that, but that just didn't happen. I mean, I hope it'll just kind of go back to normal. I don't know. It's weird. My pal Stu was saying it's going to be like one of two ways, and it's either that it's it's going to be a slow kind of opening up of venues again, and like where it'll be like big rooms with like very small crowds, all very spaced out amongst each other, and like kind of slowly build back up, or we'll wait a long time until everything's really safe, and then it'll be like hit the ground running and just like fill in the rooms again. Don't put out anything too quick. Like, think about it. Like, I think that especially with myself, and like whenever I like wrote some songs at the start and I was like, oh yeah, these are great, and I immediately, let's put these out and get yourself up on. Man, we all were, we didn't know any better, like, but if you want to have like a proper go at it, I would say definitely sit with your songs. Like, you know, definitely, you know, like some live versions up on YouTube, do some covers, stuff like that there. But maybe really think about your act, because there's so many things to consider that I just didn't think about, and that kind of should be thought about. You know, learn about things like, you know, your local kind of collection societies like IMRO, PPI, RAP, or PRS, PPL, you know, MCPS, these kind of things, because those royalty collection societies are gonna like make you money in the long term. Get your tracks registered with them. You know, if you're going to be releasing stuff on like Spotify and like putting out tracks, like make sure before you're like submitting any tracks that you're like going with a distributor that like suits you. Do your research, find the best one, the best one for you. Sign up for Bandcamp, that's my tip. Release your music on Bandcamp.
SoundCloud as well, they stepped up their game a bit.
SoundCloud, they have did you see the thing about they've changed to like an equitable streaming model? Because like I heard some people are critiquing this kind of method, being like, well, that means you want fans to kind of only listen to you so you get the most amount of money. But if you break it down in terms of like what Spotify are doing now,
Yeah, it's far worse.
if you pay your seven or you pay your tenner, Spotify take their £3, you have £7 left that's being distributed between the rest of the artists. If you listen to 700 artists, each of them's going to get a P, which is like 100 times more than what the per play payment kind of works out to every month, because obviously it's constantly changing. But like, even if you listen to 700 artists across the month, they're still getting 100 times more than what they're getting now. Do you know what I mean? It's nuts. But anyway, I digress. That's my tip. Sign up and release your music on Bandcamp. It's free, do it. It's a no-brainer. I'm Joel Harkin, and thanks a million, Michael, for having this chat with me. Talk to you later.
I'm Rob from Tua and Launch Machine as well. We're not as active as Tua, but whatever. I'm in both, so I'll say both. When I was 14.
2014?
It's nearly 20 years ago now. A really bad quality guitar that wasn't working properly, and lots of determination to actually do something. My friends needed a bass player, and I just wanted to be in a band, so I just played bass in their sort of Pixies style band in 2003 or something. So I went from there, and I always wanted a metal band, so so all I cared about was metal.
So it's like a mix of genres?
Well, over time, yeah, I wanted metal. So myself and Paul, who's actually in Tua now, nearly 20 years ago, he would play with me, you know, playing multiple other bands. But overall, yeah, prog is what give me a good drive to go forward. Even though I don't like prog now, you had to be very good in order to play prog, so I thought that was challenging.
Was that progressive?
Yeah.
Was it like fast?
Like Pink Floyd and Meshuggah and Tool and things like that. Mind games where I look at things the way they are and I try and break them. Like hackers would do, I try and break what I see and try and do that.
So you're trying to get like a structure, is it?
Well, I try to steal what people are doing and make it the wrong way on purpose to see if I can sort of pick up what they're doing and steal from them without anybody noticing.
Make it your own style, kind of?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I think it's punching far above its weight. I think the tourist office needs to get their shit together and pump more money into it. Yeah. And the night economy needs to come back to facilitate it. It's made it less nihilistic and depressing, because I was already making nihilistic, depressing music. And then I realised that we needed to not do that for a while, because it was making us all miserable in a way. Even though it was satisfying to play heavy music at that point, it was like, let's make it all shiny and sunny and stuff instead. I find it hard to finish music in a lockdown.
Yeah, you can start it, but it's hard to actually get the whole thing done, man.
Yeah, man. I think this is the best time to be a musician. Yeah. I think there's more control over your finances as a musician now and so on. I think there's more money to be made for the layperson. You can make as much as a plumber, let's say, as a musician who's making music online, and you can go on tour as well. It's just figuring out how to do that is the challenge everybody seems to have.
There's a lot more artists, I think, now in the lockdowns because they have way more time to do stuff.
Yeah, and it's making people better. But
Oh yeah.
after the lockdown as well, I don't know, the economy's going to collapse. But they're talking about in Ireland, they're talking about how music is going to, how they're going to open venues later like they do in Germany, so hopefully that'll happen. Learn more instruments than the one that you like playing.
Learn multiple instruments then.
And learn mic technique as well. I think most bands don't care whether they're using electronic drums anymore though, because the listener doesn't care anymore, and I think if you're using 808s instead of a drummer, just don't worry about it, fuck it.
There's no limitations really, like you can be as creative as you want, like.
Yeah, and people don't care about genres as much anymore, so I would just be less bothered about it.
Yeah, just mix everything,
Like even the metal scene are fucking, well, they're an aging population, so the younger people that are joining the metal scene, they're laughing at the older generation, if you noticed. You know, the Puritans that won't listen to anything except the Big Four, for instance, you know, like it's the younger ones.
Metallica and all.
Yeah, not that there's nothing wrong with that, but I like that the younger ones are just taking the piss, because why would you take anything seriously with the state of the world, like, you know?
It's upside down at the minute.
Cheers.